bids, right? Isn't that how it always starts? Okay, don't start there. It's totally wrong. Okay? You can't have any clue about bidding if you can't play your cards. And I'll tell you why. Bidding is all about the interpretation of values. If you don't know how to use the values for offense and defense, how do you know how to bid them? You don't. So what I would suggest to everybody who's trying to become good at bridge, learn to play your cards first and be good at it. And then use the knowledge you gain from your card play, both as a declarer and as a defender, to be the basis of how you approach bidding. Now, that sounds hard, but it's really not. And I'll tell you why. Declarer play is the easiest part of bridge. And I'll tell you, I hate it when people tell me things are easy. If they were easy, I wouldn't be showing up early on a Saturday to listen to someone talk about it. Okay? Obviously, it's not easy. The reason why declarer play is the easiest part of bridge, and it is, because you do it by yourself. Anything you do by yourself is simple. Imagine you're at work, some of you used to work. When you're working on something by yourself, isn't it easy to do? You're in total control of everything that's happening. When you're at home cooking dinner, if you're cooking it by yourself, is it easy? What if you have to cook that same dinner with 6 other people? Does that make it easier or harder? Way harder. Because now you got to communicate with 5 other people. So what I would suggest you do, if you want to be good at bridge, start by learning to be a good declarer. Okay, but how do I do that? Okay, there's different aspects of being a good declarer. Bobby Wolf used to be the best player in the world. And he used to say there's 2 parts of all card play. One is knowing what's going on, meaning counting the hands, knowing what's in the distributions, remembering the auctions, all that stuff, right? The second part is playing intelligently. These are 2 completely different skill sets. Now, some of us are better at counting hands. Great. Some of us are better at application. Also great. If you struggle with application of problems, read double dummy problems. There's lots of good double dummy books out there, lots of them. And what a double dummy problem means is they show you all 4 hands. And you have to figure out, looking at all 4 hands, how to play it. And then when I say this, everyone laughs, ha ha ha, it's very easy, I'm looking at all 4 hands. It's not easy, it's all application. The idea is, if you had the hand counted so well, how do you practice using that information? I recommend there's a series of books called Hocus Pocus by Erwin Becker. They're excellent. They're absolutely excellent. You should own them, you should read them, and they're not a novel. I don't mean read the book overnight, okay? Read a problem, struggle with it, fail to figure it out, and then read the answer. And what you're doing is you're exercising your bridge muscles. It's very important. Now, there's another concept of learning technique. Those books are great. So Eddie Cantor used to be a very popular writer. I don't care for him myself. Not an insult, I just don't care for him. But reading those books is also helpful because he teaches technique. For example, how do I make an end play? When do I look for an end play? Those types of things, right? Okay, the problem with those books is it's easy to find the end play when you're looking at your 30-second end play hand in a row. When you're actually playing bridge, you don't get 32 end play hands in a row, right? So you have to have the awareness to actually look at the hand and recognize what the situation is. So that's where it comes in, where you want to do kind of random hands too. And the advantage of random hands is it forces you to recognize what the actual condition is at the table. Okay? So if you're not reading a declarer playbook, you're hurting yourself badly. You really are. Because you're not opening your mind. And I'll tell you, I say this to engineers all the time. If you think you're going to get better by showing up to work, you're wrong. Because most of what you do at work is stuff you already know. If you want to get better, you have to push your mind beyond where it's already at. And sitting down at the bridge table ain't going to do that. Okay? That's why books are important. Even when I took bridge seriously, which I don't, I used to read all the time, just because it forced my mind to stay open. you can't fall into that trap of just becoming ordinary. Now, one thing none of the books will give you, unfortunately, is what I'm going to try to do for you guys on a very basic level, which is understanding what's going on around you. Okay? That's a concept that is oftentimes lost, and we're going to touch upon that in a little bit. Now, very simple hand here. You end up north-south with a non-competing auction. You end up in 4 spades. Seems unavoidable, and you're playing match points. Is that a fair statement, that 4 spades is probably going to be normal at every contract in the room? Okay. Well, all right. I mean, assuming I get normal breaks, I have no spade loser, no club loser, I have a heart loser, and I have two to 3 diamond losers, depending upon what. Okay, how I play them is part of it, but what else?
Maybe squeezing them to see what they pitch.
So what if it's ace 10 small over here and king 9 for the diamonds over here? Is there any way I could play the diamond suit to avoid 3 losers?
Yeah, you get them deleted.
Okay. Now, if both diamond honors happen to be in one hand, and I can use a mirror, I can hold myself to 2 losers. Okay? But that's 2 things, not 1. I also got to get it right. So the situation is, the simple solution is, I want the opponents to break the diamond suit.
Yep.
Now, do I have a suit I could set up to get rid of my diamond losers?
No.
Okay, I'm going to teach you guys a vocabulary word. And this is the vocabulary word that all new bridge players need to have in their minds. Threat suits. And threat suits mean those are suits I can potentially set up to get rid of my losers. Okay? As a defender, you're always on the lookout for threat suits. Always. Okay? If you're not going to look for threat suits, you're not playing with me.
What's that word?
Threat suit.
Threat.
Threat. Threat suit is a suit I can set up to get rid of my losers. There are no threat suits on this hand. There's no threat. And because there's no threat, this whole hand is going to be a street fight to see who could force the other side to break diamonds. Because if the defenders break diamonds, what's going to happen?
You probably get a diamond.
I will get a diamond trick. If the defenders break the diamond suit, is there any way they can stop me from winning 1 diamond trick? What happens if the declarer breaks the diamond suit?
You're going down.
I'm going to lose 3 diamond tricks. I mean, is there really any way I could avoid losing 3 diamond tricks, barring a miracle? I mean, there are. I could be, for example, ace doubleton here, right? That I could play small to the queen and lead back and duck. I mean, there's things I can do. But with the actual holding, I'm dead. And I would rather avoid having to deal with any of this. Okay, so Eddie Cantor's old rule, right after I was saying I don't like him, right? Was big trump fits and mirrored hands equal strip and end play. And that's actually a good mathematical formula. Big trump fits and mirrored hands equal strip and end play. And that's actually really good advice. Whenever I see a big trump fit and mirrored hands, the first thought in your mind should always be, this is a strip and end play hand. Now, the opening lead is the queen of clubs, which isn't a shock that they let a club. They have 9 of them. So the goal here is to get them to lead diamonds, right? Okay, so what I want to do is win the club, pull trump. I'll watch to see who has how many trump because I'm always counting. I'm always counting. I never stop counting. Ever.
So do you ever quit counting?
Ever. Okay?
You're bad.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cash the other club to get it out, right?
Yep.
Now the clubs are removed, so they can't lead a club without giving me a rough sluff. They have no more spades because I pulled them. So now here comes my magic trick. I'm going to cash the ace and king of hearts, and I'm going to lose my heart trick on the 3rd round. And now look at what happened. They win the heart trick, right? Okay. What are their choices? They either break the diamonds. Does that work for them? No. Okay. Or they have to give me a rough and a sluff. Does that work for them?
No.
Good. Now, this to me is fairly straightforward hand. Okay, I would like to believe most people will get it right. Okay, but it's a good example of using technique, and the reason why I know to use that technique is because I'm constantly reading, and that keeps my mind open. So eons ago, I had a choice. I could either go on to be an engineer, or I could go on and try to join the junior national team and go down that track. And when they asked me to apply, I'll tell you what they did. They gave me 3 problems that were all double dummy problems. Didn't ask me about bidding, didn't ask me about what I would lead. They gave me 3 double dummy problems. Said, can you solve these 3 problems? Now that should tell you something. They wanted kids whose minds were open. Okay, just think about that. That's all they cared about. If your mind was open, they wanted you. If your mind was closed, you're out. Forgive my old eyes. Okay.
Can you move that chair that's in front of the whiteboard?
Sure. Okay. So they opened up one heart over here. And we're playing IBS. I was in first chair, so I tend to believe it's a real one heart open. And it comes to you sitting over here.
You've got 12 cards.
In the upper hand.
I have
The upper-
13. 5, 8, 11, 13.
Upper end.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go. Okay.
Better.
So it goes one heart. What would you do with this hand? Okay. You have legitimate choices now. You have legitimate choices. And I'll tell you, the person bid 1 no trump. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that bid. One tip I did get from someone who's far better than me, and I found it to be really valid. Try not to overcall a no trump without some kind of secondary support on your stopper. Meaning, ace 10 third is good, ace 4 3 is bad. Because, and the reason why that's so important is because the chances that they're going to lead that suit are really high. So be aware of it. So when you have the direct no trump overcall, have that half a stopper extra in that suit. And if you don't have it, consider other options. So would 2 clubs have been an option with this hand? It really is. It really is. And I hate that 5 card suit overcall. You know, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but considering how bad the hard suit is, there is value in that concept. Is a takeout double an option with this hand? Why not?
Spades.
They don't have 3 spades.
Yeah, a doubleton spade is not. Queen third would have been okay. Okay, queen third, I'm fine with it. Queen doubleton, now you're just not being a good person. So it goes a heart, a no trump, pass, 2 clubs, pass, 2 diamonds, pass, 3 no trump. Pretty normal? Okay. That's fine. So this person's on lead, okay? And they think for a long time. And they lead the deuce of clubs.
Really?
Really. Now,
Thank you. That doesn't matter.
okay. I think opening leads are the hardest part of just about anything because you don't have enough information to do anything intelligent. And it's sometimes, you know, you get in your own head and you start to think, I don't want to lead a heart because they've got a no trump over the heart, so I'll take a shot with my own suit. And if you have something in your own suit that could even be right, it's hard to know, okay? It's hard to know. But I do know that they let a club. Excuse me, I meant a diamond. I'm sorry.
I thought you did nine high.
They let a deuce of diamonds. Okay. So
Love that.
the person who played the hand is a regular partner of mine, and he's a good player. Really good player. Okay, very solid, very dependable guy. 99% of the time. Unfortunately, he fell to the 1% on this particular hand. What do you know about this hand?
Only stop hearts once.
Only stop hearts once. I agree with that.
I know my winners before they get to the
Okay, I agree with everything you say. Tell me more.
We're only taking ace and then playing spades.
So tell me about the points.
12 and 12.
I know I have 15 in this hand, right?
50.
And how many are in the north hand? Okay. I know that the guy opened a heart. So why is this significant?
Two diamond pair doesn't have anything.
He's somewhere in that 0 to 2 point range, and if you want to argue he's in the 0 to 1 point range, I'm not going to argue with you. That could be true. That could easily be true. Am I telling the truth? I think I am. That this hand doesn't have a whole lot of value. Okay. So I got 5 club tricks, and a heart ace is 6, and a diamond ace is 7. What's my clear path to 9 tricks? Spades. And I want to set up the spades, like he said, before they attack the heart ace. Bridge is simple. Go straight. Okay? The straight line is almost always right. Not always, almost always. Go straight. The straight line here is to win 2 spade tricks before they attack the heart ace. You see it? Okay. Now, bridge players, unfortunately, are all greedy. And I'll tell you why. Because it pays to be greedy at match points. It just does. Because that extra trick gives you the better match point result. We're taught to be greedy, right? Okay. Combine greed with being smart. Because the two go hand in hand. It's kind of like managing your money, right? It's good to be greedy. It's also good to be smart. And you got to find where they intersect, right? Smart and greed. That's where you want to live, right? Okay. What's going to happen if I play small at trick 1?
He's gonna take the
They'll
king.
lose to the king and they're gonna lose the heart.
Do I want to deal with this? Is that a good thing for me? So what I need to do now is stop, count my tricks. Okay, and this is a very important skill. Learn to stop and count your tricks. I know the Diamond King is offside, right? 100%. Okay, if I duck trick 1, what's he going to play at trick 2? Heart King's coming back. Okay, that's cool. At that point, I have 5 club tricks. I'm going to win the Jack, Ace, and Queen of Diamonds, is 8. I'm going to win the Heart Ace, is 9. Agreed? And I'm going to win 0 spades. Because when I'm done with my 9, he's going to cash Spade, Ace, and 4 hearts, and that's 14 tricks. Which is more than 13 for those scoring at home. Okay. What happens if I take the Diamond Ace?
You could then leave load the queen.
Okay, let's think about it. If my intent is to still set up 2 spade tricks, I could get 2 spades, 1 heart, 1 diamond, and 5 clubs. Still 9. Why? Which is better?
Well, if you start the spades, you can switch to the heart.
Okay, but if he jumps up with the ace of hearts, how many spade tricks do I get?
None.
3. I get the king, queen, and jack because I still have the heart ace. Now I get 10 tricks. Okay? What happens if I lead a spade towards my queen and it holds? Now I could go back to diamonds. You see it? By the way, what do you think the diamond situation is? The guy led the deuce,
10.
so how many does he have?
Yes, 5.
4.
And how many does he have? Well, there's 4 and 3 is 7, and he has 4 is 11. Where's the king of diamonds? So what is the diamond situation? It appears to me it's 10-4 and king doubleton. Can I navigate this? I can. By taking the diamond ace, I can actually get to 10 tricks, whatever they do. You see the beauty of it? Now, some people will say, Jay, that's not fair, it's double dummy. I know it is. That's why I want you to read your double dummy books. Okay? Because that's how you become good. Because getting 9 tricks is for the normal people. Okay? But if you want to win, if you want to be good, if you want to be better than everybody else in the room, you want to walk into the room and say, you guys are clear to come second, then you got to get to 10 tricks on this hand. See the difference? Okay? That's why you got to know what's going on. You always got to know what's going on at the table. Do you know what's going on in the diamond suit? He led the deuce. What does that tell you?
That's 4.
He has 4, which means they're 4-2. Do you know where the diamond king is? Because he opened. You get it? Okay? You can become a very dangerous person at the bridge table if you're counting. Very dangerous.
Why wouldn't he lead a heart instead of a 2 of diamonds?
That's a good question. And I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I would say people don't always make the right opening lead. And it's hard to always make the right opening lead. And sometimes people get lost in their own head. You know, they start to second guess themselves. They start to being afraid to do certain things. They start to create things in their own mind, and they make the wrong lead. And it's okay. It's okay. It does happen. I mean, can you honestly tell me that you never make the wrong opening lead?
Yeah, but your partner bid a heart, so
But he bid a no trump over it.
I can't think that far ahead. Just don't want to make my partner mad.
It happens more often than you think. Now, 10-4, it's hard to defend his lead. It really is. But what if his diamond suit was better? Is it more understandable then? Sure. And a heart lead could have been right all along.
I didn't follow whether you recommend taking the ace of diamonds on.
I would take the ace of diamonds. And depending upon, since I know the ace of spades is on my right and the king of diamonds is on my right, I can play both suits and get myself in a position to get 10 tricks.
If he leads a heart out, then he's gonna push your ace of hearts out, right? And then,
That's true.
he's not gonna get back in the king of diamonds later, probably. So
That
a
raises
heart-
up a whole different scenario.
Yeah, so a heart lead would have been,
Heart lead would have been better. Doesn't mean I'm going down.
so
But it
the
does-
diamond lead was lucky.
That's the point, though. See, okay, I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Let me be clear about this. A lot of bridge, how many gifts do you guys think you get in a typical bridge game? You guys play what, 24 boards? How many gifts do you think you get? 2 or 3? I would say I get about 16. Okay? However, most people give 14 back. Okay? And that's kind of an important concept is you got to take advantage of the gift when it's given to you, but sometimes you miss it. You miss it because you don't have the hand counted, or you miss it because you don't realize what just happened. Okay? It's very important to have that table awareness so that every time someone gives you a gift, you take it. Okay? And that's a huge part of match point bridge, is taking advantage of gifts. And the corollary to that is getting people to give you gifts. But that's a whole other subject matter.
Four spades.
So,
12.
which one? That's 13. 5, 7, 10, 13.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 cards.
5, 7, 10, 13.
Oh, there's another X there.
5 plus 2 plus 3 plus
Oh,
3.
I didn't see that last X.
Okay. All right, we're good? All right. They open 3 hearts over here. Okay, that's fine. And that makes this hand tough. I mean, looking at the hands, the question is, do we belong in 6 spades or 7 spades, right? And that 3 heart opening does certainly put us in a tough bind, right? Okay, so it goes 3 hearts and the north hand doubles, and north-south decide to stop at 6 spades because they're missing the queen of trump. Is that fair? I think it's fair. And I think that if this hand was in today's game, everyone would be in 6 spades.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with everyone. Because it's, how is this hand not going to drive to 6? It's just not reasonable. Okay.
You count to 32 on the double.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing? Like, if you're not in 6 spades, I don't know what you're doing. I honestly don't know what you're thinking about. Okay, so you're in 6 spades, and the play is going to come down to what is the critical issue here?
How the spades break.
How the spades break. Because I don't have any losers outside of spades. Agree? Alright, good. Now, in a normal world, how would you break the spades if you had no information?
The queen and the east hand.
You have a legitimate choice between just playing for the drop or taking a finesse. Okay, playing for the drop is supposedly slightly better, right? And they gave you some dumb rule about having 9, you play for the drop? Yeah. And that's a dumb rule. But you should in any case start with the ace, and one reason to do that is this guy might show out. Okay. Does any of that apply to this hand? Why or why not?
This hand's gonna be maybe short into spades.
Why?
Because he has
It's
7 hearts.
preempted.
Good. He has 7 hearts. So he has 6 cards that are not hearts. What about this hand over here? What do I think I know about him? Okay.
It's got 3 hearts.
It would appear he has 3 hearts. So if anybody's long in spades, who do you expect it to be? On my right. Okay. On a whiteboard, it's a very easy subject matter, right? It's one of those things that, like on a whiteboard, I expect everyone to get right. In real life, what happens? We get tired, we lose focus, we're not thinking straight, I'll tell you the other thing that creeps in, fear. Do you want to look bad? You want to be the only person in the room to go down on this hand? You like that feeling? I can't tell you, so I used to play a lot of club bridge, right? And I would play the hand right, because I knew it was right, and it was wrong. And I'd hear people open up this travelers around the room. Who went down? It was Jay? I wonder what he did. I'd do it again, though, because it was the right thing to do, because I'm not going to be afraid. Now, if they're 2-2, this is pretty clean, right? Okay. Can I put myself in a position, though, for something better to happen? What if it's queen 10 third on my right? Is there anything I can do about it? No. I'm going to lose a trick. Okay. What holding could exist that I can do something about?
That hand has a stiff 10 or
Very good. If they're 1-3 and it's queen 10 third, nothing I do matters, right? What if it's stiff queen? Does it matter then? No, because ace king jack will mop it, right? Okay, but what if it's stiff 10 and queen third? Is there something I can do about this holding?
Yes,
What can I do?
lead the jack of spades.
Okay, I'll make it easier for myself though. I'll start with the king. And the reason I want to start with the king is if it's stiff queen. Okay? If it's stiff queen, I'm good, right? But what if it's stiff 10 appears? Now, is it interesting? I have a choice now, right? I can play for exactly queen 10 doubleton. Or I could take the finesse, which is right. The finesse is right. Sometimes in life, you're going to lose to the queen 10 doubleton. Okay? And I'm going to be the guy here to congratulate you when you do. Okay? Because that means you were thinking and you were smart, you positioned yourself, you did everything right. The fact that the patient died doesn't mean it wasn't a successful surgery. Okay?
Yes, it does.
Does it?
Well, the surgery part.
I mean, that was what we were trying to accomplish, and we did it. And the
If you
fact
die, it
that
can't be successful.
it didn't work doesn't mean anything to me. What matters to me is we were smart. See how that works? One thing about this situation, and I'm being honest about it. Suppose you were in 7 spades, okay, and the event came down to this decision. It's true. If you played the ace king and it was wrong, would anybody question you? Would anybody say a word about it? If you take the finesse and it's wrong, are people going to comment about it? Yes. Everyone's going to comment about it. Can you believe they went down? The queen was falling. Don't worry about it. This is what I'm talking about when I mean be fearless all the time. Don't worry about those types of things. Just be right, and it'll be okay. Okay? But this is a classic example then of use the information you have. And remember, there's 2 things going on at the table all the time. One is getting the information. The other one is using it intelligently. And this is a skill that everyone can develop because you can do it on your own. So there's really no excuse for not doing it. Now, I'm just going to close this out because I know we're running out of time. Every good bridge player is a good declarer. Not every good declarer is a good bridge player. Okay? But you need to learn to play your cards. And before we even talk about bidding, I don't even want to talk about bidding. You've got to be able to play your cards, because if you don't know how to play your cards, you don't know how to evaluate what your assets are. And if you don't know how to evaluate them, you don't know what to ask your partner for, how to show important cards in an auction. Does that make sense? Okay, so everything ties back into a circle. Okay, it's a giant cycle of life. But it has to start with understanding how to play your cards. So let's quit there, because I think you guys are going to have to sign up for the game soon. Okay? Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jake.